That is one of the most deadliest pitfalls in aviation. As you can see, sometimes it pops in and sometimes it pops out of the view. Very, very difficult to see very thin antenna with guide wires. So if you're flying in this Fullerton area, make sure that you are very, very well clear of that.
Now, aviation has a lot of different hazards. There's antennas, there's towers, mountains, buildings, you name it, it's out there. And as pilots or passengers, we're willing to take that risk so that way we can enjoy the reward of defying the laws of gravity in such a majestic way. Now, I wanted to dedicate this episode to the Ghosoph family. Almost 15 years ago to the date, they lost a very important mother and father, as well as a very skilled pilot. This tower is also located only 2 miles from the Fullerton Airport. Hello guys, I'm John with the Flying Journalism. On December 19th, 2004, Jim and Mary Ghosoph departed El Monte in a rented Cessna 182. And while they were en route to Fullerton Airport to pick up some friends and head to Catalina for a lunch, they ended up striking this tower just 10 feet below the actual top of the tower here. This wasn't its first plane strike. A plane struck this tower also in 1970 as well. And this tower, it belongs to KFI AM640, was originally constructed in 1947. Now, it was been a long time argument from pilots and also the FAA to add lights to this tower. And lots of people may argue that it's still aviation's public enemy number one. If I told you it was 654 feet tall, would you think that's pretty big?
Is it really?
Yeah.
No way. Oh yeah, I didn't know that.
Do you have any concerns now that you know that?
You know what? It's not worked down here. I've thought about it. Where if the wires do go break, then the thing comes crashing down to the building, I end up getting hurt. But not other than that, no.
Now, after we spoke with one of the workers in the area, we decided that it would be a good idea to get the opinion of local resident Ron Moore, who told us what he thought about the tower.
Yeah, I was born and raised here. It was the visible icon, so to speak. You know, coming back from family, little trips or something. Hey, we're almost home. There's the KFI tower right up here. And it stands out, It's pretty tall. I really never thought much of it falling, It's just, hey, there's the big tower,
Do you think it would be hard to see from an aircraft? If I showed you a video of it, what would you think?
It might be. I don't know.
One of the things here that's making...
What do you think about it now that you've seen the video of what it looks like from the air?
Yeah, it makes so much sense that how it sporadically disappears as you're moving. A lot of these buildings weren't here back in the day. This was just all field for one, like back in the 70s. And when the backdrop was like the ground or the street, you could kind of see it. But even still not that well. It's a little thin piece of air, So, during the day, yeah, especially during the day, yeah. It makes sense. It makes sense how that could, it could be obstructed. It'll just come out of sight.
Now, you saw what the tower looked like up close. It's orange and white. It's very easy to see. I mean, even if you're just a couple blocks away. However, now you take it back a couple miles and look at it from the airport perspective, from the takeoff and landing, and you could clearly see if you make one wrong move or you're distracted in that flight deck during these critical phases of flight, you're going to lose that tower, and that tower could cause devastating consequences. So we found a pilot who's not from the area who wanted to give us his opinion on what he thought about the tower.
We fly into Fullerton whenever we're coming to Disneyland, probably once or twice a year. But to be honest, I've never even looked at it on a chart. I mean, we always come in on a 2-4 landing. But looking at it now, coming in from runway 6, I mean, it's pretty dangerous. What's interesting is, I mean, when you're flying in, right, you just pick up the ATIS, which we did. And I don't even recall hearing about that. Well, so I fly into Palo Alto all the time. And just because of the amount of construction in the Bay Area, they're always briefing on construction cranes. They're always briefing on heavy equipment. They're always briefing on those kind of things, right, in the ATIS. And you have to. I mean, anything within a few miles of the runway that's sort of in the approach path, and this, if that's a left pattern, is it's pretty dangerous, right?
Now, this local pilot is very experienced in flying in and out of Fullerton. She's also a mechanic at the local flight school, and she has some words of wisdom for the pilots in this area.
Pretty much avoid it, obviously, at all costs. And yeah, definitely right when we take off, it's on the upwind, we really need to be vigilant of it and make that quick left or right to get out of the way. And definitely for landing on the opposite runways, it's one of those that even the tower keeps reminding us and notifying us hey, be vigilant of the KFI antenna, and they usually have us kind of offset a little bit to avoid it. We're all trained pretty well here, which is nice.
Fullerton, very unique. This gigantic tower that's over here, the KFI radio antenna, it's claimed numerous airplanes.
Now the question remains, amidst the legal battles between the FAA and the Pilots Association against the KFI radio station to get this tower to be taken down or moved to another location, is this another accident waiting to happen, or is it just an obstruction that pilots need to be aware of? Let us know down in the comments below. I'm John with The Flying Journalism. We'll see you next time.
I love a sailor, the sailor loves me, and sails every night to my home. He's not a sailor that sails all the sea, all over the wild briny foam. For he owns an airship and sails up on high, he's just like a bird on the wing. And when the shadows of evening draw nigh, he'll sail to my window and sing. Come take a trip in my airship, come take a sail among the stars. Come have a ride around Venus, come have a spin around Mars. No one to watch while we're kissing, no one to see while we spoon. Come take a trip in my airship and we'll visit the